secured and second is the man to do it. JZZ de novo, na ultimate do hit. JZZ, ele não para.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to VCT Americas. We've officially reached the midpoint of Super Week, and it's time for our second match of the day. It's Sentinels versus MIBR. Of course, I'm Golden Boy, joined here by Mimi and Riven. We got a little bit of a different location here today. We're just going to have some fun with it. Why not? Just stick with us. But in any case, yeah, we're on a journey together. That's really what it boils down to. But first, let's actually talk about Sentinels. I know a lot of people are here very excited about this team. And a few days ago, we had Sasi and Pinkata face their old teammates from Loud. And today, Mimi, they're going to be facing off against another teammate in Bazooka across that stage.
That they will. Sentinels came out last week amid a coaching change, Kaplan going into the head coach role, Marv coming in last second to substitute for Tens. And if anything, they looked the best that we have seen from them thus far. It felt like everything was clicking for them, and they took a map off of Loud.
It kind of felt like going into a custom game for Sentinels that time. It looked a lot more relaxed, the way that they were playing, and then the way that they played off of each other, too, into their win conditions.
It really was. This pro map in particular was super well done by them. They came in with a new composition, pivoting into this Harbor Viper, and played it excellently, I felt. Their defensive side, the retakes against Loud, were consistently so good, and you can see what it meant for the team, for Kaplan stepping into that role, and also specifically for Marv. This guy was an absolute beast. It's been a while since we've seen him, but he was popping off, and the rest of the team was just forming up around him. And although, at the end of the day, it was not quite enough there. We're still facing off against Loud, and despite being 2 rounds away from beating them on Haven, it went to a map 3 where the amount of practice, the limited time, kind of caught up with them.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to note here as well that that game could have been Sentinels. That was very, very...
2 rounds.
2 rounds. That's all it took, right? So really, when you're talking about this team, it really is going to be a do-or-die type of week for them because we're at the midpoint of this thing. And this week gave us a return of course, you had mentioned Mimi Marv. And he, by the way, he hit the ground running. He looked absolutely fantastic. But despite a last-minute arrival, here is actually what he told Esports Illustrated. He actually said, I missed 3 hours of prep work yesterday because I missed a flight at 8 a.m. and flew at 12 p.m. at noon instead. We only had 2 scrims left at that point, so we had to just make do with what we could. Marv coming in hot and did fantastic.
Honestly, came in cold.
That's true.
And was still even colder and
came in cold and hot.
Oh my God.
And an ice cold.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't let you get away with that.
Little by little, Mimi's going to have her Joker moment. But yeah, I mean, Mimi Marv, to ask a player to come in and step up like that is huge.
He picked up right where he left off. It has been ages. Last time was Champions, where we saw him playing at a tier 1 level. He came in, played the controller role, and he was doing fantastic. The lurk timings were really good on these reflanks. His individual performance, even when the team was struggling, was the strongest of anyone out there. And I love that Sentinels allowed him to play the controller, flexed around to make him comfortable, because it showed in the performance.
Yeah, the comfortability and the multi-kills that he had, the clutches that Marv was still coming up with, it got the crowd going, and it gave Sentinels a reason to be excited again.
Yeah, and I think that
fans.
that breath of energy, breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
That is very important for Sentinels because they're going to need it going up against their opponent. But, you know, what did seem, though, to work for Sentinels, you know, of course, is, you know, you got Sasi back on Initiator. And then you have Zekin on the Duelist as well. Now, Mimi, you and I both have different perspectives of this. I was looking purely at the stats.
Okay.
Purely from a stats perspective, didn't look that great. But when you look at what he contributed in the game, it felt like Zekin was a little bit more comfortable, which is a positive for Sentinels.
Statistical Steven over here has only looked at stats from the last match and been like, oh, it was bad. But really, I felt that these roles made a lot of sense. Previously, Sasi was playing the controller roles. He was being forced to flex around, but now he got to play the Sky, the Sova, the roles on the Initiator that he's so comfortable with. 2022, we were talking about this guy as being the best in the world at that role, and his performance showed that. But the same thing, like you were talking about GB, for Zekin, he was only playing the Jet, and this kid is really damn good at that Jet role.
He is. You gotta unleash a player like Zekin to let him do what he can do. If you kind of go back and forth between compositions that are just going to need everybody playing off the util, Initiator util, you have to wait for things to happen. Let Zekin create opportunities off the bat.
Like what Leaf did for C9 multiple times, creating opportunities.
I think there's a really great direct comparison there. Because for Zekin, what he has is proactivity. in his duelist play. When you watch him play, you see him talking constantly when he's playing on that role. He's calling setups. He's kind of helping to adjust his team to give him those opportunities to thrive. And I think that translated into his gameplay because Sentinels looked so much more proactive with him as that duelist player compared to TenZ, who, well, is fantastic in his own right. I feel like is a lot more passive at times in kind of proactively calling for that stuff. Second is a great player, but also a voice for this team. It just felt like it made sense for the first time with the role.
It's a more not concise. It's an all-inclusive package with these two. I think the way it works out, the way that you see the initiation utility helping Zekin, the way that they flow between those now, it just seems like so much more synergy and it's well orchestrated.
Yeah, it truly has been beautiful to watch, but they got to turn those in. They got to turn that beauty into dubs at the end of the day. Now today, Sasi's going to get to face off, as we mentioned before, against his teammate, his coach of his 2022 champions team. Here's his thoughts as he faces off against Bazooka and MIBR.
MIBR is turning up a great team, especially with BZK as a coach. I think he's doing a pretty good job teaching the boys how to play the game properly, and they have been doing that great. So yeah, it's going to be a tough match. I think that MIBR is doing great.
I've been singing the praises of MIBR since lock-in. I'm a big fan of this team, but since then it's been interesting to see this team and their America's journey take place here. But we're going to go ahead and switch gears to MIBR, of course. Now, they took the first real butt slapping of VCT Americas when they got whipped around by Leviathan Rivington. This is a team now that kind of got a little dose of reality as they get ready for another tough opponent in Sentinels.
Right, you think, you know, okay, they got heat, they got their win conditions, everything's working. Look at Maurice on these multi-kills, FRZ on flanks, and they're holding, but nothing's ending as a win result for them. Rounds will look good, and then it falls away. They need to be able to close these out. They keep losing control of mid-rounds.
Yeah, and they were coming off of that really good upset versus NRG, where we were kind of singing this team's praises, right? They have the individual pop-offs to be able to come through and win these games where they're not favored. But Leviathan is a squad with a lot of structure, and they didn't give those same gaps, those same opportunities for MIBR to find those pop-offs. And I felt like when it came down to that kind of stylistic matchup, their calling just was not up to snuff to beat Leviathan.
Something that, you know, again, I'm going to be a statistical Steven here once again, but you know what? Looking at the numbers, purely looking at the numbers, there is a correlation that you could see with MIBR not being able to control games, as we have been talking about before, and that correlates into the matches, that correlates into their set pieces. Mimi, that's the problem that they have. They need to control.
They do, and one of the big issues of this matchup was their post plans. It was both Harbor Viper versus Harbor Viper on Pearl and Icebox, and their post plans were where they faltered. Leviathan let them get the spike down, but played these well-coordinated retakes, and MIBR struggled to find the in-between, right? They had these moments where they were going aggressive, they had these moments where they were trying to play full off-site, more passive. None of it was really working whatsoever, and in particular, Heat, normally so involved, the highest entry load of anyone in our league, was struggling to get those opportunities because of the way Leviathan was playing.
Exactly. They identified to shut down Heat, and more so, people have done it before, but I think they made it 100% their goal. Harbor utility, Sky utility, and again, secondary layer of that to shut down the Jets. And I think that's why we're seeing some teams that just have trouble.
Against a team with more structure, with less structure, this is an opportunity for Heat to improve a lot.
Yeah, this is going to be a fascinating matchup and a day full of incredible matches. You couldn't ask for a better one than this. We have Sentinels facing off against MIBR as they take the stage. Both teams fishing for a win here today. For MIBR, it's to bounce back after that heinous butt slapping that you just had to deal with Leviathan. And then for Sentinels, really, the pressure is on. It's on for Marv, but most importantly, it's on for this team because Sentinels fans, Mimi, expect nothing but the best.
They absolutely do. And for Sentinels, they've shown us that they're good. They've shown us that they have found solutions to their issues. 2 series in a row where they are 2 rounds away from finding a massive upset, but then lose in the 3rd
When
round.
do they
It's
get
been
those
tragedy
rounds?
thus far. But now this is their chance against an opponent that they are favored against to actually win a match and start to maybe build
But wait a minute,
towards
they're
playoffs.
favored against it, but wasn't NRG favored against C9? It feels like we kind of just like flipped the
here's
script here in
thing.
Americas.
I said favorite. I don't even know if that's true. I don't know if I believe that myself because I'm high on Sentinels
Blood's
after
lying.
last week. But it's still a substitute coming in versus MIBR, who's been a team for ages.
That's true. I think MIBR, they route the ability of Sentinels to get around to the backside. They'll be safe. No slappaging there. And I think
No
the game comes out. But no, Sentinels, I think the weight's on them. With the change even, I think that people are still thinking about Sentinels being a top team and where they aren't right now. So there's a lot of pressure there.
There really is going to be. And for MIBR, I think there is a ton to learn from that series against Leviathan because they really did play into their opponent's game plan of those retakes that we already talked about.
Yeah.
Their attacking sides were struggling to find more depth against a team that was initially giving them what they wanted. But Sentinels is a newer squad. There's a lot more gaps available. This is not that same kind of structured single mass that we saw with Lev.
True, I want to think that. I genuinely do, but I really do feel like when it comes down to filling in those gaps, I think Sentinels are going to be quicker to adapt than MIBR would be in those instances, and that's why, I mean, it does make sense that Sentinels are favored because they have a lot of experience on the stage. Not to take anything away from MIBR, but we've seen what a lot of these players on Sentinels are capable of doing.
Right, just what a level 15 moment would prepare you for, what you'd need to do to be able to secure that moment and get the win. Sentinels probably in the better foot to be doing that. As we get our maps here, Icebox, a set ban, and our first one going up there, what was that? Just
Pearl. It's going to be such a good one in this series. It's where we just saw MIBR get smacked down by Leviathan and where we saw Sentinels upset Loud. They looked incredible. They brought out a new comp with the Harbor Viper and played so well into it.
All right, well, we just got Fracture locked down as well. That was going to be courtesy of MIBR. Split is going to go away. Goodbye, my friend. And now we see what we're going to end up with. No Haven, which means, oh, yeah. I think, did we get box banned? No, I don't think so, right?
0.0 coming up.
Did the Heineken 0.0 Icebox get banned?
I believe it got banned in the
It was
first
banned?
round.
No!
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
It's out
see it
here.
because
So it
my
is
old
Lotus,
eyes. It's Lotus.
which is another kind of cool one in this series. For Sentinels as well, it's going to be our first time seeing them with Marv locking into that map. There's a lot of different directions they can go there. Same thing with Fracture. For MIBR, we haven't seen them play that since Lock-In, I believe against Talon, where they just narrowly lost.
Yeah, this is actually going to be an awesome set list for both of these teams. I feel like MIBR defense on Pearl is going to be massive for them. They'll need as many rounds as possible here because it's not going to be easy once Sentinel switches up that map.
This is going to be awesome. I'm excited to see this one take place on the stage as we have two teams that we haven't really talked about the stakes and what's, you know, up for both of these squads here. But for Sentinels, if they lose here, Mimi, I think they could kiss playoffs goodbye or it's going to get
so
dangerously
scary.
close.
Yeah, MIBR actually have really good standing, so they're a bit safer than this one. This is a must-win for Sen. We're looking at the agents already, though. I expect Harbor Viper versus Harbor Viper. Doesn't look like we will get any changes in this one. So what I'm looking at is on these defensive sides, who can be better at retaking against these B hits and who can maybe actually find the fights and deny plants, because that's something that MIBR didn't have a lot of time to showcase, and Sen was great at.
And I think we saw in our last match, there was much more mid-rounding here. With the Cove becoming such an idea for the plants to happen, there was a lot of distraction, this double initiate, or not initiator, but to initiate towards B and then find yourself at A, still being able to use that Cove for safe plant.
I'm hoping to see Heat more involved in these opening kills. In these Harbor Viper comps, it's hard to be that Jet player, but a lot is on you and how well you can coordinate with your Sky.
All right, folks. Well, this is it. We're all set. So let's go ahead and send it over to your casters for this game. We had to import them from all around the world. It's Doug and Bala.
Thank you so much, Shubi Ball. I was standing out backstage just a moment ago, and I saw Zekin, and I said, hey, man, how you doing? He goes, bro, I'm about to put on a show for you. So he's feeling confident. The rest of Sentinels feels good, and I know the fans love that.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see which version of MIBR shows up, because either one, I think we're looking at a challenge no matter what. And Sentinels are just coming back off of a pretty solid showing against Loud. They took them on this map that we're starting off here on Pearl. And that was considered Loud's playground. So to see that, all of a sudden you're starting this series and you're thinking Sentinels is coming in as the favorite on this map in particular.
It's so funny too for Sentinels. They feel like they've gotten close a couple of times, right? They've had very good showings, even given everything that's gone on. They just haven't been able to take down one of the big ones. So we'll see how things fare out against MIBR. Sentinels starting off on the attacking side. A lot of pressure from the defensive side already.
You could always get trapped here if you're MIBR in this type of situation. You can't stay forever. And Sentinels on the other side of that, that could have been a clash, and that might have been okay for MIBR. But they opt not to go for it. The signs, whatever they saw made them think they need to back off a little early. And at the same time, they're reclearing A main, so a little different flavor. Because they get no information up B long, and then they reclear A. And now you got a fast flank potential, but 4 people on the rotate. Mimi was talking about who can retake better on this B site. So far, MIBR is poised to hold this B site.
Toxins going up.
Sentinels still with some time to think this through, but that should be the cue. They're going to funnel their way forward off of the harbor utility, take some of that space.
No spam.
Oh, there's a little bit. It's getting a kill, but it's traded right back. Second with 1 to counter. They've all taken their post plans. The one exception being Def, who's staying a little bit tighter, a little bit closer by.
Argel still has a cove. They haven't quite used it yet, and they've gotten all the ammunition out. And there's a flank.
Yeah, but Marv is already wise to it, ready for it, turning back around, seeing if he can get the kill. The flank is the only thing that remains. By process of elimination, you see Sentinels swing out. They know where the last one is.
And that's a great call from Def. Reading how MIBR is playing that situation, reading that they're not putting the cove down to push through. Anticipating the flank and taking off these disadvantaged fights. There's no time here for FRZ, so Pancata just trying to get a little bit extra there and making sure as well that he starts to barrel towards that lockdown. That very first engagement, we get B long. We're gonna get a lot of them this game, given the comps that we have on both sides. But it goes towards Sentinels, and again, the 2 little micro calls there from Def and the players on Sentinels. The first one to counter spam when MIBR was just kind of waiting for it for a long time. They end up getting Pancata killed through the smoke, and then to repush, like I mentioned earlier, both signs of an aggressive approach. The exact same thing we saw against Loud.
You see 3 members of MIBR waiting just on the other side. Now the 4, wait, they're all here. Everyone's gonna try to funnel out of this one. Off of the flash, they swing out, and they're just swinging right into Sentinel's crosshairs. Oh. That's as clean as it gets, man.
A roaring start with the anti-eco win too. Saucy farming his Brazilian compatriots. And he, unfortunately, they're dashing into his own teammate when he wants to escape. I think that approach, I like the high tide. I like the flash through the cascade that Sentinels put down. But you really have to be patient with that, because you want them to be as far advanced as possible. You saw, yes, it got Zek and ended the 2 players who were the advanced squad from Sentinels, but the players who were far back, they were, by happenstance, playing anti-flash.
MIBR opting not to go aggressive here, and you see some of the variety in Sentinel's approach already. Remember, last time we did that, just in the previous round, it was off of a cascade and then the flash. This time a bit more dry.
There's some success from Marv, but he's still challenging. The fact that he's not dead is unbelievable.
Yeah, maybe overstayed his welcome a little bit.
And Sasha's gonna be able to heal him up, so that entire challenge is all for naught for you.
Squad.
You come to me, Sasia. This Trailblazer to clear out some of that early space, which makes sense off of Marv being pushed off and taking as much damage as he did.
Toxins going up.
And Sentinel's finally starting to re-explore the rest of the map. It's a little late here, so they're gonna have to commit to one side of this middle. They still have plenty of Def's utility though. 1 cascade, 1 high tide, 2
flashes for Saucy as well, and his ult.
They gotta get through the KJ util though.
I've
And Muri's might get a molly down to deny them.
Second, jumping over, the floor being lava, finds a little bit more. 66 HP, tries to follow the Seekers, perhaps get a free kill, not able to do so, but the scaling up from Sentinels is confident. It is bold, and Marv is on the flank as well. Timing here could be gorgeous. How far up does Marv push? Decides to play it safe. Just wait for the right moment to strike. Makala's already falling. Can Zek find anything? No, he cannot. Here's the timing. There's the flank. Zep's able to hold the line by himself. He's already got 2, the third with the Bulldog, no less. That's all he finds.
Remaining.
It all falls onto JZZ.
He didn't recognize both were there, too.
It's going to be tricky to deal with, too. The thing is, it's not really planned for him. That Molly's going to help things, though. Putting the onus on JZZ to go aggressive if he wants to take the fight, realizes he cannot, and gets away.
Huge bonus conversion from Sentinels. Start off the game 3-0, and there's only a single weapon here from MIBR as well saved.
You see one of my creatures.
So you really
thing, all right?
looking like they might start 4-0 at the beginning of this game.
Huge round out from Def.
So far, so good from the IGL, who's been heavily criticized heading into Super Week, given the changes that we've seen. With Tens taking a little bit break from the roster here with the head coach change. Somebody wanted to target somebody else, and it fell to Def, unfortunately. And I think right now, the micro calls he's making in that play too.
Yeah, he's doing just fine. Zekin tried to get ahead with the Trailblazer and gets punished for it. Now, how far up do MIBR go here? Just on the other side of the wall. I hear the blades online.
Toxin screen down.
And you can see Marv ready for it. Daring Heat to take a peek. Nothing yet.
And that trade, losing Zekin early, is definitely something that's been haunting Sentinels on their attack sides, these first kills. But with Zekin in the roster, it's actually been quite impressive how he can go for it, but there's still pressure here in A main with the knives.
Heat. Oh, the trigger was primed for the pulling for so long.
And it's interesting there that the flash from JZT is so delayed.
Reckoning leaves them rolling as they have to run away, and it's all just a fake. Sentinels happy to give some of that pressure and rotate. They're going to be ahead of this too. MIBR, because of their lighter weaponry. Oh gosh, they're pulling back into him.
Yeah, they're really not giving up on this A side, and MIBR has just stood still entirely this round. And look, Marv is actually no armor in this round. 5.2K, I think he might have forgotten.
13 seconds left, no time to pivot now. You've got to commit. Got to take what's in front of you. That flash is good. Good trade though. Def feeling a bit of the pressure, had to get the spike down, had to commit to it. And the round goes in favor of MIBR.
I said it was gonna be a 4-0 start, but they are stubborn there, aren't they? Both sides.
I thought they were gonna rotate off and go B for sure, especially with Saucy scaling up towards Link as far as he did.
Yeah, I think losing Zekin there at the beginning is one of the key parts that they didn't want to go towards B, just in case there was that stack, because all of a sudden you don't have the ability to cut up those angles and get back calls control. Ooh! You can see that shot from JZZ. And that gun too, remember, that was the one Phantom, the sole Phantom. And it contributes to a thrifty win, so MIBR not having the similar start that we saw against Leviathan. It was really rough for them in their first match of Super Week.
Chance for it to convert though. You see the Heat with the op, and he's up by Pillar already. Takes a more aggressive angle off of JZZ's flash and holds that line. Now a Trailblazer too. Man, they're investing a lot to make sure he can get some space and find value.
Oh, well, not only that, but to deny the space for Marv. Beautiful double peek from Saucy and Zekin. But one of the things that really hurt Loud when they were approaching this game against Sentinels on Pearl was how aggressive Marv was getting on these lurks. He was constantly finding space through sewers, constantly finding space down B long. MIBR right now, stubborn against him, not giving him any quarter.
What do they do here? They've found the op. You've got some space taken from Pancada. You're going straight into that Killjoy utility, though.
I'm surprised that Pancada doesn't have his ult yet. after the nice start that he had on the pistol round, so they don't have tools to break in with 30 seconds right now. It's got to be a regular execute. That's the big pick. KJ util down.
Seconds left.
Now that should pave the way for them to go unless JCZ can do something about it. Continuing to farm. Getting another. The op pushed off. The sight lost and the spike planted.
Blocking sight.
Waiting for the right moment to strike, to tuck away. But they've left Def. And Marv is on the flank.
Enemy remaining.
Heat falls. RGL falls. MIBR fall.
Going up.
What a response right away. Marv, who got pressured, who has been getting pressured so often at the beginning of these rounds, not dying. You could see the impact of that. I was just talking about the flanks and how he's such an aggressive lurker. We saw it all last year. It was why he was one of the best controllers in the world. And he really hasn't missed a beat. We're going to get a chance to see how he stands up in his second match of 2023 here. But so far, so good. Zach going to pop the knives
Get out
here.
of my way.
See if MIBR heed the warning.
They've actually invested quite a bit into this. They've got Bulldog and 2 Vandals. JCZ again on that. Still can buy next round, so this isn't a full force or anything like that.
Once again, the Trailblazer first. Second going up top. Spots just a pixel of Miri's. They're investing in the lockdown too.
I think it's a good choice given the money situation that they saw at the beginning too. They know there's definitely a threat in this round. And they've made the right call. But how far does this push them back? Because they don't have plant yet. They planted every single round so far.
They've cleared out back sight. They've cleared out everything, really. All of the space that MIBR had to give up, but it ends in a trade.
They're trying to push back haul there so Def has the room to actually plant.
What a rising.
But it costs them second. Is that a worthy trade?
Left to be determined, as MIBR have to deal through the dissecting utility of Harbor, of Viper. No angle is free. No angle is safe. Saucy falling. Numbers in favor of MIBR. Can they get another one on the board as the spike ticks away?
That orb is actually not on. That orb is not on the molly.
It's been delayed though. They still haven't gotten it to half. It's just now restarted. Keeps
that's
far
gonna fall.
up. And that's another death. They're not gonna have enough time to do this.
Is there a half? Yes, there's
They
a
did
half.
get it to half.
Enemy remaining.
A massive kill up from Marv. A massive 3K from Marv.
The Iceman steps up 2 rounds in a row now. In the final moments of it. I was just asking, are we gonna have a repeat? Incredible performance from Marv. Ooh. Animated on the side of Zekin too. It's a great start from Sentinels. And I was just mentioning how they've planted every single round. They've turned a lot around since last week. It was obviously a good showing in the week prior as well, against Leviathan. But then to do it against Loud, and then now to step into this game, when we were talking about predictions for this in all sorts of different places, we were laughing when people were predicting Sentinels because it just didn't seem like a possibility given the turmoil this team is going through. Given the role swaps that this team is continuing to deal with, and given the fact that Tens has stepped out to recuperate.
In the face of all that, not too shabby a start for Sentinels here. Up 5-1. I think the one question on my mind, Ball, is how do MIBR deal with and approach the lurking tendencies of Marv? Because that's now 2, maybe even 3 rounds where we've seen him either have aggressive positioning and maybe he doesn't get value, but the truth is that's exposed and he continues to hit him where it hurts.
Yeah, it's unpredictable too. There he's playing the post plant, and that's exactly what you should expect on B-Long though. But you never know when it's gonna be a threat through sewers instead, so you're right.
And look at him. Cheeky guy going hunting again.
MIBR need to find a way to break these early bad starts that they've had so far in Super Week. Every single half, they've gone down a massive deficit. Right now, it's not looking any different. And remember, last week, they're coming off of a massive win against NRG.
Dude, the timing from Marv is outrageous. Just as RGL takes a step back, Marv is rewarded with a kill. That's clinical.
7-2 now. It's beautiful.
And here's the thing is we haven't seen a ton of adjustments other than RGL playing a little bit further up on Double Door Center. Marv, once again, is going to have a field day with this area of the map.
Ooh, big fake coming in here. Def as well. Sending it towards A, but obviously Zeka just got that kill on the lurking player.
Marv has to be careful here because he is up.
There's no
yeah.
way.
Oh, dear. All good.
Doesn't matter after all.
30 seconds
It just
left.
really, this round in particular, has felt like Sentinels have been able to press wherever they wanted and get whatever they wanted in exchange.
And that's out of the timeout as well.
Spike
Bazooka
planted.
just had a chance to talk to the MIBR players. And it's going to hurt because you think they would come in with a nice game plan, a nice adjustment to whatever, and feel confident about the next few. Instead, they get pummeled, forced to save in almost what feels like 30 seconds into the round.
Yeah. I mean, they'll have some time to talk things through here, but that's got to be so demotivating. Off of the timeout, you're absolutely right. Because sure, I mean, you don't want to call another one shortly thereafter.
You only get 2 in regulation. They're chasing. They've got almost a full pinch here.
Yeah. Got plenty of guns here, too. That's going to be the first to fall. I don't know that there's going to be much more aggression. Oh.
Oh, I like it. You asked,
Yeah.
and you said Zeki was going to try to put on a show for us.
I respect it.
That's that moment right there. Have to see a solution here for MIBR. They've got plenty of ults. Almost a full house.
What does that sound? That sounds like a whale.
I thought it was like owls or something, birds.
Owls.
Yeah, there's other birds chirping inside of the ocean, I guess we are in.
That's true. We'll figure it out. Someone will tell us. Light buy for MIBR. FRZ with just a frenzy and a bulldog for LGL.
I mean, at some point, Heat is going to have to capitalize on taking down Mars. Because this is a replay. Different scoreline, but same exact scenario. Although now Sentinels is calling a pressure in towards mid. And you're seeing a lot more of this, actually, in comparison to the Loud game.
FRZ with a lot to do here, and again, just has a frenzy. Yeah, he's gonna have to back up.
Great ult here from Uriz, but he's isolated, so the KJ util is gonna get popped. But he has to rush back, FRZ does, in order to help out Uriz. And they've spotted him. Oh my goodness, Benkata.
That was so cheeky. As soon as the pick goes down, he drops his alarm bot, and it's just bait.
But for the first time here, this aggression on B Long might end up paying off because
I've got your
these
trail.
Seekers,
Nope.
what?
Just when you thought it's just gonna be
30
oh
seconds
my
left.
goodness!
Spike down B.
How does he get 2?
That is the 6th sense there from JZZ. The round's over. Unless Marv can find a gap, Second's gonna continue to pressure down, but they've got to bring the spike all the way down.
I don't know that they know that Marv is
Player
there.
standing.
That's not gonna matter though.
Spike down B. 10
Oh,
seconds left. Hey.
there's a start. There's a start. JZZ. During the Leviathan game, we were constantly asking for somebody to step up from MIBR because I was wondering where the issue was against Leviathan. It wasn't, to me, a game plan issue. It was a player performance on the day of everybody. And I don't know if that's going to be repeatable. But you're going to have to consistently see this from JZZ, from RGL, the players who did pop off in that game against NRG.
Guys, a casual 13-4, right back into the action, right back into a little bit of space taken from Sentinels towards A.
And they didn't burn all of the ults. Actually, hold on. JZZ has his secrets again, by the way. He popped those right before that fight. Literally last round.
Harbor Wall sectioning off a couple of things. The Trailblazer up as well.
Not looking like a commitment, but the alarm bot just gets placed, so they're going to try to walk in after this.
Poison's off.
Second flash in the face of Uriz, who's still here. Now the Secret's invested. Saucy not able to respond with some of his own, but he's getting the kills that he needs. Or it's opposite on the opposite side of the map as well. I don't know that they know Saucy's positioning. All right.
I mean, great molly.
Yep, they know.
He's gonna get in the angle. Yeah, RGL.
Well done.
Good little team play there between those two.
Very well done. Sentinels have not been able to get out of here. That's certainly going to help things. The two remaining members of MIBR posted up in flowers. An op in hand for Heat. Spike planted. A 2v2 now. Def weak. Post plants assumed. Banga.
Def gets away into Art.
Oh, they have the Reckoning. He has to swing. Yeah, they know their positioning. That's a shorty. That was a shorty. Now RGL on the 1v2. He gets the first. That was the weak one, but Banga trades it back.
And winning those little 2v2 situations are going to be huge to keep the momentum from MIBR down, because any sort of clutch against this team
One enemy remaining.
who rely on momentum, who rely on the players starting to swing together and pop off. It's ridiculous. I got to give credit to both Pancata and Def there. Def ran away into Art thinking that they could play post plant, but Pancata was stuck and he got back into the fight. Realizing his mistake of leaving his teammate and getting right back into the fray. Heat with a Vandal, but nobody else in MIBR with any significant weaponry here.
Marv taking the space early on this time. And they're going with him. No mid pressure. You see how MIBR are wary of it.
And this is just an eco, but see the possibility of the pit too. If this plant goes down, spamming that little cubby. Marv doesn't miss a beat, man.
Hey, you wouldn't believe he took time off.
Welcome to my world.
There's the pit that you were just mentioning.
Yeah, given the fact that they obviously found the stack on the A site, you don't want to take any risks. Make this really difficult in a situation that could get dicey early.
Very nice. Deep flash to get info that there is a flank. No idea of how much is there. Now the alarm bot confirming at least one. And they're wise to the fact that there very well may be more. Heat's able to get the first. But if they can just keep them back, that should be plenty. The pit is still in play as well. A 1-for-1, time short. Second's tucked into the corner as well, so he's able to hold the line even as they dance around the pit, even as they dance around the utility.
Last player standing.
It's a round in favor of Sentinels yet again.
And Saucy gets the crowd active in what so far is a 6-round lead here for Sentinels. It's been incredibly fun to watch Saucy back on his primary role from last year.
It just looks so much more comfortable.
A lot more comfortable. Not that he was bad on smokes by any means, but
See ya, buddy.
his firepower was definitely there.
Remaining.
It's just about the amount of things that he's comfortable to go for. And also whether he's in the moment.
Get out of my way.
Okay, so MIBR just faked the pressure up B long. But they're entirely focused on actually trying to bait out a push from Pancata there, because normally Heat is with that push on B long. And also trying to take a strong side towards A, which Sentinels has actually been favoring this game.
Second use of Blades at the opener of the round as well. See if they're able to do anything with it. I wonder if Marv is just going to try to contact up.
Toxins going up.
You actually saw Saucy just flash in. Yeah, Marv's contacting right now is going to push FRZ out. I'm not sure if he realizes that FRZ is the only player. What I wanted to mention about Saucy's flash, he flashed A main, and that's the cue for them to rotate back to B, because they know they're not going to be able to recoup information right now. But MIBR, despite that, flashed and got the info. That's a mistake from FRZ. He knew the alarm bot went through.
It's a massive one. I guess he just assumed that between the alarm bot and the two nanos, they'd push back towards long. But he just stays. Just a little nook.
What?
Now the Reckoning invested. And it's just going to continue to scale them back. They've got the Seekers they can work with as well.
I've got your trail.
Easy stuff to peek off of here.
A lot of oomph behind this punch. They know the op up top. Looking for another angle. Death. Playing where Marv just was. Dude, Marv is just destroying them right now. Early round, late round, the flanks, straight up fights. It doesn't matter. Iceman's winning them all.
I said he doesn't miss a beat. But he's out there looking like Pretty Boy Jay.
One enemy
I mean,
remaining.
come on.
One enemy remaining.
It's a clean shot from Heat. He's going to be able to keep the op.
But for what?
Yeah.
That's another 4v5 conversion. Remember, he got that first pick on second.
Last round before the switch.
They're now 4 for 6 on 4v5s. That is a very, very strong conversion rate.
It's outrageously strong.
And MIBR, even with that, even when Heat gets that, finds the gap to actually convert on the kill. They're not able to follow up. They're not able to make, Nuriz is not able to make a plan to capitalize on whatever space might be there or what's going to be missing from Sentinels' side. The fact that Marv has not died a single time up B long when he's getting so aggressive with it is absurd. It reminds me of how Khalil was playing against Leviathan when they had that first initial upset. That's on the side of Furia, but right now Sentinels
Toxins going up.
still dealing with another Brazilian foe in front of them. Not again.
Dealing with him quite handily as well. This time he's passing
No
the armbot.
way.
That makes this worse.
You have to call here for RGL. You have to.
He's behind the turret as well.
Going into FRZ is dangerous, though. Because FRZ knew everything that was possible there, whereas he needed to make that call for RGL.
You should run.
You called for it too. He showed up at just the right time to help. Just when Marv thought he had a massive play before him. Goes a little sideways late in the round. Now just 30 seconds left before the spike gets planted, and it was denied, and delayed.
30 seconds left.
Both of us in the same map.
Yeah,
Spike
same
planted.
words.
Heat with blades, wanting to go fast.
Too slow.
It looks like he does, but he doesn't get anything for it yet.
Falling into the
Not
crossfire.
ready yet.
Oh, this brutal.
Blinded.
I mean, they're stacked here and they aren't expecting it. Never mind, RGL is. One guy has to do it on his own in the face of reckoning the swing into death. As RGL gets the defuse, MIBR gets a 3.
And they potentially get the 3-9 blessing, too. You're seeing MIBR in a lot of these moments, a couple key players end up popping off. I think the idea there from Sentinels was good. Flash off with Sasi and Zekin get a peek. But they should have done it off the turret. Should have done it when MIBR is a little bit more advanced.
Just felt like even with that, it was impressive performance out of Sentinels nonetheless. Let's throw it back down to the desk to break down the first half.
Oh boy, look at that. By the way, we added some new furniture. So
You
look at
got a
us.
friend.
Leveling up,
Yep.
right? Who would have thought? I got a friend now, you know, the only one. Anyway, moving on though. Let's go ahead and talk about that half because as it stands, Marv is coming out here, Riv, and looking fantastic. Hasn't dropped a beat. Still doing the same thing he did last week.
Well,
Looking
it's
great.
funny, we were watching the TV and I'm thinking back, like, what'd the rest of the team do? And I was like, actually, I've been watching just Marv kind of lurk around here. That's right, there is 4 other players for Sentinels in there playing fantastic right now. I love these plays. Obviously, we see Util here at the end of this round, but they were contacting out to be long to find Heat, search out where Heat was. In the mid-round after that, honestly, Sentinels look like they've been this team for the split so far.
Yeah, and in a lot of these moments, we saw MIBR leaving some gaps in their defensive side where Marv was consistently able to find those lurk timings that
Yep.
you're talking about to provide
Yeah.
value for Sentinels. And as well as that, what they were pulling out on this attack side just looked really clean. This is still a new composition to them, like we've been talking about. But I think the decision-making they had there, sometimes playing more into that mid-round,
Sure.
not being over-reliant on just the straight-up side executes, was good. Because for MIBR, it looked like some of the same issues we were seeing in that Leviathan series were continuing in, it's kind of like a classic thing to say, but it almost feels like a lack of confidence. When they lose an initial player, people are scrambling to try and make a solo play, giving those opportunities, and Sentinels was always there to punish and keep that momentum rolling.
Yeah, and the stakes are incredibly high here for Sentinels. I mean, for both teams, you know, obviously every game's important here. But for Sentinels, Mimi, you have to be so pleased with how this is playing out because this is a strong start for this team finding their footing.
For Sentinels, this is the game that's looking to be a boat of confidence. If you can dominantly win over MIBR, finally get another one in that column, that's your direction towards playoffs. That's kind of hope regained.
And the stakes for MIBR here can't get any tougher. They need to get this win.
Yeah, they have to step it up. Well, let's go ahead and send it back over to your casters as we look to navigate our way through this next half.
Thank you, Golden Boy. Dominant performance out from Sentinels, and while MIBR made a run at it towards the end, it really felt like it probably should have been worse, to be honest. You think about that last round by Marv, he makes a massive play there. We're likely looking at a 10-2.
I think there was some big plays from JZZ in particular. And the calling, I think they're really trying to find the gaps. It's just a matter of slight inconsistencies. Now we go on to the defensive side for Sentinels, the attack for MIBR. So they can bring the aggression.
He's just spamming through the wall, and he's already down to 75 HP. He's going to get healed up. Has the frenzy as well.
I mean, they made a lot of noise. Marv knows what's coming.
He wasn't even the first one here, but he has arrived. Light armor for him, just the classic.
He'd actually missed that updraft that Marv was looking for.
They haven't cleared back sight, but everyone on the Sentinel side is just on the other side. Marv, the first one to get a kill. FRZ trying to scale up and get another.
Planted.
Cannot. 3v2 in favor of Sentinels. Yeah, they got the spike down.
Oh, they lost track.
Oh, that's a big one. RGL alone. Trying to preserve this round.
I don't think they have any clue of where he's at.
Oh, they know now.
Too many frenzies.
Yep.
Way too many frenzies, and that might be a done deal there. Sentinels convert the pistol. Despite a great flash play from JZD there, setting up heat and pushing deep into spawn, catching a few Sentinels players off guard. I like the idea, because you're threatening that updraft, and then you're following up so far. But now you have to come up with probably at least one eco. Looking potentially for it to be this specific round. We got a few sheriffs, and they did get the spike down, so they can definitely withstand a little bit here.
These are never done deals. These rounds have a tendency to go a little sideways, to get a little out of hand. Let's see if that's the case this time around.
Enemy kill.
They may be okay.
A Viper wall wasn't placed, so you think it was going to be a plan for them to add some misinformation into what was coming through and surprise them with a fast hit, but that's all for naught when Mures falls.
Scraps left for MIBR. Not only are they down to numbers, but it's just the pistols that they had at the beginning of the round. Choosing not to force late here on Pearl, facing a huge deficit. They decide to play it safe. Marv pushed off by the flash.
Oh, he vulnerable
dropped.
himself.
Yeah. Making it a little bit easier on MIBR.
Saucy trading it back makes this what was a dangerous situation into something that they should handle fairly easily now.
Last player standing.
Very nice. Very well played by
30
Sentinels.
seconds left. Team Ace.
They're just cruising, man. I don't know that there's much that can stop the Sentinels train right now.
Don't stress if
I don't know if I'm placing the alarm bells completely in MIBR right now. I don't think they're all going off. I think what I said at the beginning of this series is Sentinels on this map took down Loud, the most feared team in the Americas League, up to that point, showing that even the best can bleed. So for me, I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking MIBR, okay, yeah, this might be brutal, but let's see what else is coming. This was Sentinels' pick,
Placing sentry.
and it's not quite over.
Placing swap. Out of charge.
Definitely looking for a momentum shift of some kind. They've been missing all game.
It's often he who delivers those moments. He'll have the opportunity to do it here with the Phantom. As always, the tip of the spear, the first to fight. Tucked behind the pillar, waiting for just the right moment to strike. Yeah, that reckoning could be big.
Zekin was still a marshal too. This is a really tough position to find value out against guns.
Remember, Sentinels won the bonus in the first half too. And that's really all it would take to wrap up this map at this point.
I love the KJ setup for Sentinels. They can flex so far, and that allows 3 players to be here when this hit comes in, but against the Reckoning, is that going to be enough? 2 players back call too. There's not going to be much room to actually run around back there.
Oh,
I suggest you move.
there's the Reckoning. Finally invested.
Great cascade from Def to allow himself to get out. Seconds alone, though. Backside.
Timing from FRZ is going to be big on this flank as well. There it is. Saucy the first to fall. Heat going to scale up. You mentioned him a second ago. Finds value onto second.
It's a great follow-up by Heat, finding the timings within those pulses of the Reckoning.
Really well done across the board. Unless Sentinels can snatch this thing back with a miracle.
Timing there based off of the high tide coming down. Mark just thinking he's safe to swing.
Last player standing.
Just the Sheriff now for Sentinels.
Is there even a Vandal? I don't think there was for this bonus.
Placing sentry. Target destroyed.
Trying to deal a little extra damage, but ultimately die to the spike. That's exactly what he does. He goes down too. That is not insignificant.
No, that one is not on purpose either. 3.8K. He'll be able to get a Phantom back. It's not the biggest of deals. He still had his Cloudburst and updraft, so. And even if he didn't, you're fine in that situation, but that staying power gets a little bit hurt from that. Being able to withstand a lot of match points. And Sentinels is not even there yet, though, so. Second with the op, though. He was great in that series. You really did not expect him to have such proficiency, even though we've seen it before.
Aggression A from MIBR. At least early. Enough to take main, enough to get the orb. And they're continuing to double down on getting RGL another Reckoning.
Second playing solo B right now. Yes, Def is in B Link, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him rotate too. With all this pressure coming down on A. Which might lead him to have to play retake on this A side if MIBR can go in, but no, Mark takes the duel and he's 1 HP. Can they get a molly or something in his back of sight? No, FRZ is so far away in art.
Poison orb emitting.
A little heal and he's right back up.
Blinded.
Deep flash getting some info, and off of that, Def drops his wall.
Great high tide. Everything covered. If he was 1 HP, he'd be dead.
Yeah. Look at him going up.
Poison's off.
And he's been backside for so long. As soon as his position's figured out, he scales.
That info of the flash makes me nervous if I'm Mark, but he doesn't get nervous.
30 seconds left.
Just looking for spam on the other, and I thought he was going to hit that 30 HP. He's danced with death so many times this round. I don't get how he's still alive.
He's gambling on some of these peaks. He's dicing with it. And it's going to be a save here from MIBR. They're gonna allow match point from Sentinels. That's definitely a little worrisome. Their mid rounds have clearly been an issue. Not really having a great idea of where to go.
Match point.
And I think when I look at how these first engagements are going, I think that's where I'm thinking is these mid rounds are tough because the first kills to first deaths are actually dead even, 8-8 right now, but Sentinels has converted every single one of their 5v4s, whereas MIBR are struggling in that regard, and usually that's when you get an advantage in the round.
Right. Yeah, you wouldn't think it's 8-8 given the score right now. Late timeout called from MIBR. Once again, looking for a miracle of sorts.
At this point, more than a miracle.
Yeah.
This is going to be a ridiculous. It's barely even worth talking about. I think for MIBR, I'm making sure that the verdict is from Bazooka that this is okay. This is, again, a map that we just saw Sentinels be so strong on. This is their pick. We had to allow it through. Let's focus on keeping our mental strong for the next. The problem, though, is how do you convince your team of that, given what we've just seen from this MIBR squad, whose stocks were rising, but they just got battered by Leviathan.
It's a freaking stock market crash all over again, man. And I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier. It's like, I wonder if you go into this knowing you're not beating them on Pearl. Like, I wonder if you
surely
just
not.
kind of cut your losses and go, yeah, I mean, we're going to give it our best shot, obviously, but it's going to be a tough fight.
No, definitely not. Not with Heat on your team, not with Mirrors. These guys are always brawling. But I think that's what you have to resign yourself to at this point, all right? 3 guns saved. They still have the economy, but when I talked about staying power earlier, when Heat fell to the spike, you're gonna need a lot of it.
He's got blades. And a Phantom. Looks like they want to explore the middle of the map here. And there's a lot covering this. I mean, you've got Def close by, you've got Sassy just down long, you have Marv here, you've got the alarm bot, the turret out. From Pagada, they've shored up the middle of the map quite nicely. Turret and alarm bot both cleared, and that's going to be the cue for Pagada to just take a step back.
They haven't followed up on that Trailblazer up to this point. Finally, Heat is trying to chase down Pancada, but they've gotten themselves a sight. And we've seen the aggressive tendency for them. You already saw a flash. That first step, is there more, is the question. All 5 players of Sentinels coming through spawn. Marv looks like he wants to creep his way through Art, and he will.
Of course he does. But this time Yuri's holding the angle, expecting the aggression. Oh, timing. Timing once again.
When you doubt yourself there, and that's the IGL too. You knew he had the beat on it, but doubt crept in.
And Molly looked like it was keeping Marv safe for just a moment.
4v3, this might be it. Great reposition from Heat, though.
That spike has been ticking for a little while as well.
There's time. Yeah, you're right.
That's another kill. At 3v3 here, Zekin is the op. It looks like they're just going to try to funnel out. Cybers, he's got it to have. This is how it ends.
Enemy remaining.
Ooh, I thought RGL wasn't going to be able to save the day, but he does. We'll play it one more.
Last player standing.
No!
Staying power.
FRZ, the only one with the gun who stays alive, and there's barely a bank. Thankfully, again, last round they had 3 guns saved, so it's not the end of the world, too. There might have been just enough staying power in this case.
I think that was RGL's last bullet, or second to last bullet on that spam before he reloaded and got that kill. That's wild. Sentinels calling a timeout here. Again, with the cozy lead, but just want to make sure they have everything they need to close this one out.
And we just saw a timeout, too, actually. So Kaplan enforcing his ability to press the button now as the head coach. And I think this is kind of a, I mean, it's a power move. It's an OG Chet move. Maybe this is a Marved move. But you want to have as big of an impact on this map as possible. Given what I keep talking about, this has been a stomp. This has been a complete blowout up to this point. Don't let it slip anymore, otherwise they'll start to get that confidence back that they work so much for and work so well with, that you want to close it out as fast as possible.
Remember, they found success off of that reckoning. RGL has it back online. Light armor as well. Meanwhile, for Sentinels, you've got the Viper's Pit and the Seekers. The question is, how do they choose to use it? Look at that deep alarm bot out from Pagada across the middle of the map.
That's the one I keep mentioning. How he can flex his setup and play very passive on A, but allow himself control of the flank. And you can see, MIBR hasn't really been approaching B-Link at all. They've been so focused on B-Long, so focused on Art and A main, that Sentinels is just putting Def at the bottom of B-Link and not worried about it. Oh.
You gotta get out of there.
And he does.
Oh, but he takes the second peek. There's that reckoning that we were just talking about from RGL.
Oh! No way! Come on, man! And it's another spray down too.
2 kills without seeing a single victim. Wild. Now Sentinels can put the finishing touches on this map unless MIBR can pull off something insane. Seekers, Zekin, yep. Oh, I thought he was gonna get the second. Here's left alone. Satsi takes a bite out of him and out of MIBR.
That is a way to end the map.
Defenders win.
Safsy didn't have to do him like that, not his Brazilian compatriots. What a stomp. What a statement. And what an outing from Sentinels once again on this Pearl map. They look so good.
Marv, we talked about him so many times, and well, for good reason. He had a field day, Saucy did as well. The calling was great from Def. It just really felt like everything went Sentinel's way. And once again, we have another bit of proof to understand why it is that they continue to go towards Pearl. They're freaking good at it, man.
They really are. Already with one massive scalp. And Loud, even though they weren't able to convert on that series, but this is looking insanely promising. And even better than that last map against Loud.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that.
One enemy remaining.
The one benefit for MIBR fans is that was Sentinel's map pick. Fortunately, they can head over to Fracture, which is going to be on the other side of this break. That's their map pick. That's where they should be more comfortable. Whether or not the outcome reflects that is the only thing left to be seen. We'll be right back.
Red Bull gives you wings.